There you are. There you are. I hope you're having a great day. I know I have, because I have reached 100,000 subscribers. And that is all because of you. Yes, you that are watching my video right now. Just by clicking on it, watching it, liking it, and maybe leave a comment. That's the only reason. So in fact, we did this together. So I want to thank you by saying thank you. And my ultimate thanks goes to my Patreons, because they deserve a special thanks, because they make it all possible for me. So also for you. So thank you, Patreons. But now back to business. Did you know that we can make an awesome, sophisticated, progressive rock sound with just 2 simple triads? Let's find out. Many of us like the progressive sound of bands like, for instance, Pliny from Australia. And we want to create that sound, but often it proves to be a challenge, like swallowing cinnamon. Progressive rock is complex, full of odd rhythms and stacked with technical challenges, but even with less complexity and technical exhibition, we can sound pretty pseudo-proggy. You know, the 3-piece? And that is what we will see in this video. We'll often see it in digital art, where 2 layers of graphics are blended into a new piece of art which is more beautiful than the 2 original graphics on their own. Now in music we can do this too. We'll play one thing over the other and create something new and exciting, like cocktails. For instance, we can play an arpeggio of one chord over the sound of another chord. So superimpose one thing over the other. Now while both things are still present, the sum of both things is more than the things themselves. So a kind of 1 + 1 is 3. My God, I wish I had a teacher like that. So talented. Something like an E minor 7 arpeggio over the C major 7 chord. Or a B minor pentatonic scale over an E minor chord. But this is not what we're going to do in this tutorial. It is something like that, but different. Now, as you may or may not know, chords are built from triads, and sometimes the 7th and even an extension can be added to a chord. This is something you should know and should be familiar with before we go on. But still, here's a tiny summary. Now, every chord consists of a stack of third intervals. Every chord is born as a triad with a root, a third and a fifth. Then they are still cute. But then the 7th is added, for instance for the C major 7th. And 7th chords are not so cute anymore, and some become very dominant. After a while, a 7th chord can get different extensions like the 9th, the 11th and 13th. Now the chords get their own life and start progressions of their own. Some grow soft and some grow nasty, like the dominant 7th sharp 9 chord for instance. You don't want to mess with them. So that's it. That's all about 7th chords in a nutshell. Well, a very small one. For small nuts. So what's the deal? Let's take the C major 7th chord. This chord consists of the root C, the major 3rd E and the perfect 5th G and the major 7 B. In this 7th chord we'll find 2 triads with an overlap of 2 notes. One triad consists of the notes C, E and G, and the other triad consists of the notes E, G and B. So you could approach the C major 7th chord as the sum of these 2 triads, C major and E minor. Now instead of playing just the C major 7th chord, we can split the chord in 2 triads and play or record them separate as 2 different chords, 2 different tracks. By the way, to really experience the effect, you should listen to this tutorial on stereo speakers or with headphones. So the C major 7th chord sounds like this. And the same C major 7th chord recorded as 2 different triads, C major and E minor, sounds like this. I recorded the triads in stereo, C major on the left and E minor on the right. And this is exactly how progressive rock is recorded. Sometimes even with 4 or 8 tracks for the same riff. And this is one of the important ways to create that massive wide sound where modern progressive rock is known for. It works best if the frequency ranges are different. So play the 2nd triad with higher notes, like you see in the notation and the diagrams. So better to put them on top of each other than mixing them in the same frequency spectrum. Now let's take this progression in A minor as our first simpler example. A minor 7, F major 7, D minor 7, E minor 7 and we're closing with the A minor 9. And to create a beautiful wide progressive sound, we just have to split these chords in 2 triads and record the triads separately. So let's see how the chords are built and which two triads present the chords in this progression. Alright, A minor 7 is the sum of the A minor triad A, C and E and C major triad C, E and G. F major 7 is the sum of the F major triad F, A and C and the A minor triad A, C and E. D minor is the sum of the D minor triad D, F and A and the F major triad F, A and C. E minor 7 is the sum of the E minor triad E, G and B and the G major triad G, B and D. Now as you can see, the major 7 and minor 7 chord both consist of a major and minor triad or the other way around. So in one ear you will hear the major triad and in the other ear you will hear a minor triad. The whole progression sounds like this. Now in the previous example with the A minor and C major chord, we had two overlapping notes to create a 7th chord. Now we can also create a more colorful result by creating extended chords, like a 9 chord for instance. The A minor 9 chord contains the notes A, or the root A, the minor 3rd C, the perfect 5th E, the minor 7th G and the 9th B. Now in this extended chord we'll find two triads that have only one note in common, the note E. The A minor 9 chord consists of the triads A minor with the notes A, C and E, and E minor with the notes E, G and B. When the A minor 9 chord is played by a single guitar, it sounds like this. And when the A minor 9 chord is played with two guitars and two triads, it sounds like this. That's quite a difference while the notes are still the same. Now you could also make an A minor 11 chord by superimposing a G major triad over an A minor triad. The sum results in the notes A, C, E, G, B and D, which are all notes of the A minor 11 chord. And this sounds like this. Now we can make formulas to find out which major or minor triad you need to create a certain 7th chord or extended chord. Now here's an overview for some of them. The major 7th chord can be created by combining a major triad and a minor triad built on the 3rd of that major triad. So A major and C sharp minor. The minor 7th chord can be created by combining a minor triad and a major triad built on the 3rd of the minor triad. So A minor and C major. The major 9 chord can be created by combining a major triad and another major triad built on the 5th of the 1st major triad. So A major and E major. The minor 9 chord can be created by combining a minor triad and another minor triad that is built on the 5th of the 1st minor triad. So A minor and E minor. In this progression in E major in a combined 4/4 and 7/8 time signature, I use the tonic E major 7, the 3rd degree G sharp minor 7 and the flat 7th degree D major 7 and the 2nd degree F sharp minor. I've split the E major 7 chord into an E major and a G sharp minor triad. I've split the G sharp minor 7 chord into a G sharp minor and a B major triad. And I've split the D major 7 chord into a D major and an F sharp minor triad. And I split the F sharp minor 7 chord into an F sharp minor and an A major chord. The chords sound like this. And the whole progression in an arrangement sounds like this. Now in the second example I've used only major 9 chords and not in a particular key or mode. The chords are G major 9, A flat major 9, B major 9 and C major 9. The G major 9 is built from the root G, the major 3rd B, the 5th D, the major 7th F sharp and the 9th A. The major 9 chord can be created by superimposing the major triad of the 5th degree over the major triad. In this case, D major, consisting of the notes D, F sharp, A, over the G major triad with the notes G, B and D. Now we'll do the same for the other chords. A flat major 9 is created by superimposing the E flat major triad over the A flat major chord. B major 9 is created by superimposing the F sharp major triad over the B major triad. C major 9 is created by superimposing the G major triad over the C major triad. And this sounds like this. Now in the next example I used these chords and made a bridge with the E major 7 chord that consists of an E major triad and a G sharp minor triad. Now the last progression is less complex regarding the chords that I used. It is a simple progression in E Lydian with a tonic E major 7, a major 2nd degree F sharp, a minor 3rd degree G sharp minor 7 and the dominant B major. Now the E major 7 chord is split into an E major triad and a G sharp minor triad. The G sharp minor 7 chord is split into a G sharp minor triad and a B major triad. The other two chords are just triads themselves and they are kept the way they are, only panned hard left and right. Now the riff is doubled by two hard-panned left and right distortion guitars that both play simple power chords E5, F sharp 5, G sharp 5 and B5. Now the midtones of this power chord riff are scooped in favor of the main triad riff that gets more presence by this. So here's the last example. Now, while composing a song is one thing, recording is something else. Most important aspect of recording is to place instruments in their own part of the frequency spectrum so they don't fight for their place. The kick drum sits around 50 to 80 Hz, and this means that the bass guitar should start at about 80 Hz or so. Now the solo guitar benefits from a mid-frequency boost to cut through the mix, while the background power chords and background guitars sit better in the mix when they have a cut in the mid-frequency range. I also use the right compression for kick, snare, acoustic guitars and strumming clean guitars. The guitars need to be compressed to the point that the dynamics are still present, so not too much. Distortion guitars don't need to be compressed because distortion is already a compressed signal. And my last tip is to organize the tracks in the right way. A good idea is to group similar instruments that have the same role in the mix and lead them to a mix bus. Then apply EQ and compression to a group rather than individual tracks. And this helps you to glue it all to a solid, clean mix. Now use hard-panned stereo tracks to widen and thicken the sound. For instance, record a riff twice or maybe 4 times and pan it left and right. Now this is what I did in all the examples. The bass and leads could stay in the middle. Now and this all will give you a much more wider and spatial sound. Now I know this seems a bit reductive, but you get the idea, right? And it's best to watch dedicated tutorials of people that know what they are talking about to learn much more about recording and mixing and the effects of equalizer and compression. Now in this video we have seen that superimposing is a great way to get a wide, rich and beautiful sound that is especially useful for progressive rock when you record in the way we did in this video. And the theory isn't that hard to understand if you are familiar with 7 chords and extended chords. So now anyone can be Plini. Just experiment with recording riffs and sections in your songs in this way. Any style goes. try to make other extended chords that were not covered in this video to experiment with different sounds and soundscapes. So, have a shamelessly amount of fun with the superimposing triads, and we'll see each other again in the next video. Thank you Patreons for your incredible support, and thank you all for watching. Check the bell for notifications. Bye.